What's up, y'all? It's Dominique, aka That Therapist. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the lead clinician and CEO for a group practice known as Yellow Bird Counseling. What do? Well, we offer individual, couples, family, and group therapy in the states of Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and New Jersey. Yeah! So that's what we be doing. But what do we do here on social media? Well, we educate the general population on reasons that we could all benefit from having therapy outside of simply just having a mental illness. Because you know the old myth goes that if you're crazy, that's when you go talk to somebody, or whatever those other. Mr. Carter, don't you start. Y'all know how he is. Now my phone's starting to die. Okay. But anywho, so that's what we do. And the way that we do that is, again, we pick topics that everybody can relate to for the most part. And we tie it back to how we could all benefit from having a therapist in our pocket to help us through this journey called life and this experience that we have to deal with as human beings. Okay? So, we're going to be talking about different holiday themes, and things to deal with as far as mental health is concerned. And so you definitely want to share this live, because there is definitely someone on your timeline. Share this live. There's someone on your timeline and in your groups who needs to see this, who needs extra support during this holiday season. And we're here to help them. They're looking for a place to find a therapist, and we are here to help them. So definitely share this live, inbox it to somebody. All you got to do is click on share, and you can share the link to somebody who you know might possibly be struggling this holiday season, could use some help. So definitely do that. Tune in, get in these comments. But I'm not doing this discussion by myself. Y'all know I be having different Yellow Bird ambassadors coming in, helping me out and whatnot. So tonight, who do we have? We got it's Bridget. What's up, Bridget?
Hello.
I tried to set up my own thing, but I be having bad luck with these banners. I don't know why.
Your background. I was like, what thing?
What?
I said, what thing? You said your back. Hey, what's your shirt say today?
This is my mental health is non-negotiable. This is actually the first design, but we redesigned this shirt and it'll be released tomorrow. But yeah, this is the old design.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thanks. How you been doing, Bridget?
I'm gonna be a patient and a provider during this discussion.
Cool. I love all that. That's my Mr. Carter.
Mr. Carter needs some attention. So
you know how he no. He's got such a terrible attitude, and I'm not sure what that's about. It's probably because he's so spoiled with him cute self, but in bad. He's real bad. So, all right. Well, cool, Bridget. So what you going to be telling us about? How you going to be helping us this evening?
Well, it's funny because you always make fun of which I'm down with, about the like random things I end up doing for my and their people. And so that's really where this decision came. Like, I was like, what about some stress and boundaries over the holidays? Because, people are asking you to do and give and go, and you got to take. You got to have some boundaries. So that's what I was like, oh, that's what we need to talk about. And that's why I was like, I'm both a client and an expert on this one.
Tell us about it. Tell us from the client point of view, the client perspective. What have
you perspective? So any of you folks may be out here like this, but just to give a quick blurb, I have 2 children. I have a 6-year-old and 11-year-old. They're my favorite people in the world. And I like to help volunteer with them. I help with church, I help with their school. They do sport. We stay busy. And then on top of that, I, obviously work. And so, first off, I have the best clients in the world because they know I just put it out there. Hey, I know you're busy. I'm busy. We're going to make this work. But so I was like, literally, Dominique, every night next week we have a something to celebrate.
That's just me out hearing that.
Well, and that's kind of normal for me. Like, we normally have like sports, like both of my kids play basketball right now, and then my son does karate, and my daughter does youth group. So we're usually not we're usually doing things every night, but we have extra holiday things. And I love it. I'm so happy. I love Christmas. Let's celebrate. But also, then you just get these other little things, which is wonderful. But I think it can become super, super frazzled. And I think, that's from a family perspective, but a single perspective too, right? Having people constantly, you want to do this? Can we do this? Let's do this. Or feeling like you got to spend money, or there's expectations out of family. And so I was like, let's talk about this. Let's talk about it. So that's kind of where it came from it. Because I think the anxiety can be real. If you don't have if you don't have control over it. So
Definitely. So tell us how you can kind of get swooped up in it and get frazzled.
Well, I think it's really easy because everybody loves the holidays, and we always think oh, that's our time to get together or whatever. But you want to say yes to everybody. Sometimes it's not even a bad thing. If you got 15 people saying, hey, you want to do blah, blah, blah. Sure, I would love to. I absolutely want to see you. But are you putting yourself are you putting your needs behind somebody else's needs? I think that's kind of where I came from, of that idea of you can just you want to say yes to everything, but you just do not have the time. Sometimes what you say yes to is a no to something else. And so that prime perspective was where I was like, let's talk about this.
Why do you think people, because obviously there could be some level of guilt to when you had to say no.
Right.
So tell me kind of what are some core beliefs or some thoughts that people might have that cause them to feel like guilt or shame around saying no to people, the holidays.
I mean, I think one, it's the expectation, right? It depends on, because it's, as therapists, hopefully if you're in your individual therapy, in the next couple of weeks, your therapist is going to go, hey, so what is family like at the holidays, or how do you celebrate, or do you have good feelings or bad feelings about that? I mean, I know last week I joked with people because I hate Thanksgiving food. I just, it's not my favorite.
Really?
Yes, I can't stand it.
And none of it?
I mean, I did eat it, and I made my kids try one bite of everything, but it's not my thing, no.
Not like greens, beans, potatoes, tomatoes, yams, cornbread, lamb, none of that?
I'm just not a Thanksgiving food human.
Not no ham, not no turkey, not no pie.
I mean, I made a pie, but
not no mac and cheese, not no stuffing with no chicken, not no greens with no smoked turkey necks.
I just don't think I don't think I'm a traditional Thanksgiving food eater. I mean, I ate it. I just don't like it. But anyways, so I talked to all my clients about that last week, and then about Thanksgiving, and we were talking about just that idea of the expectation, because it's so funny. I told this story about how my mama loves dressing. She makes dressing. Literally nobody in my house eats the dressing. My son doesn't eat it. My daughter doesn't eat it. I don't eat it. My husband doesn't eat it. I don't have anything against people who eat dressing. I just think it's revolting.
Really? Why?
Because it's gross. It's basically
like cornbread dressing?
Yes, she makes cornbread dressing, and I think I've heard from other people that they like it, but nobody in my house eats it.
Maybe she's not making it right.
No, I've had it other places. I don't like it. I think it's like because it's like basically savory cake, like.
Is it? Oh, it's not supposed to be necessarily be sweet like that.
No, I mean it's savory. Like, it's kind of like that consistency of cake. Like it's this bread that you cook and you cook. I just don't like it. It's not.
So you don't like puddings, like bread puddings?
No, I don't make bread pudding either. Do you like it jiggles? I don't know, Dominique.
I like it.
You can. That don't mean I have to. But I was talking to all my clients last week about whether or not they eat Thanksgiving food, but also like how they feel about Thanksgiving, because that's what we do in therapy. We like have that, like, hey, how's it going to be to see your whole family? Is that good? Is there some stuff, like, is that and so I very rarely have a conversation in therapy. You might agree the same thing where you kind of have the same session the whole week, right? Like
I was talking to one of the interns about that today.
Yeah.
I was like, yep, sometimes I'll have the same session the whole day or the whole week.
Like, but like the holidays is one of those times where it's so universal that everybody has that, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's like there's going to be some type of negative emotions and maybe not, but like probably, right? Mm-hmm. Like I definitely had a couple of clients that are like, no, it's good and it's wonderful, but they ain't the most of it. Like most of it.
No, that ain't most of them.
So where'd you go?
I gotta get my charger. I'm coming back.
Okay, I'm here when you're ready. Hello, people of the internet.
Keep going.
Well, so anyway, so I was thinking about that and I was thinking about how universal it is. But we have this societal expectation that we all are like really happy and we love it. And we do, right? Like we don't want to stay negative. That's not healthy either, but like kind of be a little bit more realistic, right? And so that's kind of where I was like, we need to talk about this. Stress, boundaries, what's expected of you, how you can say no. You're not a bad person if you say no, right? If you protect yourself, that's not a bad thing.
Right.
That's kind of
okay, so tell us, what are some specific situations where people might find this having a hard time implementing or maintaining boundaries when it comes to holiday stuff?
I think that the biggest thing sometimes, if we're talking about a couple of different things, one, I think is like, if you're talking about your time, right? Like we all have limited amount of time, is knowing your priorities, right? Like you're not going to be able to do all the things you want to do. And there are going to have to be some things that drop by the wayside. And that's okay. Because we aren't looking for perfection. We don't expect you to do all of the things all of the time. So knowing what your priorities are is one of, I think, the biggest thing. And so if you say no to something or something just doesn't happen the way that you think it's going to happen, that's okay. Mm-hmm. I literally, 2 sessions before I got onto this, we were talking about that tonight, about how she was like, well, I really want to do these things and these things. And, she's getting anxious over it. And I'm like, girl, I hear you. But like, what's important to you and what would be nice, but is not like important, Yeah. And I think that's universal. Like if you have a family, if you're single, like, yes. And
how do you choose that?
Do what?
How do you choose?
I don't know. There's no like, whatever's important to you. What is important to you, Dominique, might not be important to me. Like,
Well, what are some general guidelines somebody can kind of maybe, like, if they're not sure what to choose? Like, okay, if Uncle Sam invites you over for his Christmas money gig, and then you got Grandma, you got Mima Ivy, who wants you to come over for the political Christmas roundtable.
I don't know if I'm going to either of those things.
Hey, I don't want either. Neither. I'm staying home. Thank you.
Be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I have to work that night.
What if you really love Uncle Sam and you don't?
And Meemaw. Wait, did you say Meemaw Ivy?
Meemaw Ivy, yeah. No one's going to her house.
Nobody likes Meemaw Ivy. She's going to end up with nobody. Anyways. It just took me a minute to realize who we were talking about.
So you got both of them. You really love them.
Just because you love them doesn't mean you have to go both their things, right? Like, you don't have to necessarily go to all the things just because you can love them. You can love them from afar. But
definitely.
If you want to go to all of those things, make sure to know. Well, my biggest thing, I don't know if you already do this, but one of the things I do with my clients now is if you feel obligated to go to Uncle Sam's, but you don't really want to go to Uncle Sam's, don't make a commitment. As in, if Uncle Sam is like, yo, you want to go blah, 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 you go, I'm going to think about that. Let me think about that. That is one of the takeaways when you feel like, I don't know if I feel, actually, sometimes even if you feel like, yeah, I really want to do that, don't make a commitment. Just be like, okay, let me think about it and I'll get back with you. By the way, if you are my friend and you hear me say that, that don't mean I don't love you. It means I need to literally check my schedule because my brain can't be relied on. And if a no doesn't necessarily mean like a diss. Sometimes a no is just, I can't add anything else on my plate. Right. That's one tip. Don't commit yourself to something unless you are like fully informed. Don't commit yourself on the cusp, Right.
That's why having a calendar is good. I can always rely on, and I haven't had anxiety about saying no in a while because people know I work. And so, and my hours are, I guess I'm second shift.
Yeah, we don't work regular hours. I work second shift. Absolutely.
So I can be like, let me look at my calendar. Even if I know what's on there, I can still say, let me look at my calendar to give myself a chance to pause and think and really figure out if this is going to be a benefit, a mutual benefit.
Right.
To me and that person for me to come.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But then I think there's the other boundary of if you're going to Meemaw Ivy's and she starts talking some stuff,
as she
will, how do you interact in Meemaw Ivy's so that you are not the problem, unless you just want to be the problem? I'm a big Swiftie, and her big song right now is "It's Me." Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Just own it. Just own it.
If you're the problem, shoot. That's when real healing's happening. I got a TikTok up about where I'm like, I am the problem. Sometimes I got a slick mouth.
Right.
My cutoff game is second to none.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, when you go to therapy, obviously you can talk that out with your therapist, but I feel like a lot of times I start those conversations with my client. Like you said earlier, they're like, going to therapy, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you're just going to therapy to talk about the people who really need to go to therapy.
Exactly.
Their clients think they're the problem, and you're like, you ain't even the problem. You're here.
It's the people that you allow in your space that are the problem.
It's like, those people are the problem. You're here talking about it in therapy.
You need a place to vent. Yep.
But if you end up at Meemaw Ivy's and she's got dry cornbread and she's got bad political expression,
and she got damn what is that? What is it? The fruitcake.
Oh. So my dad actually loves fruitcake, and my mom makes it every year. Well,
people hate fruitcake. It's like some pudding.
In my brain, dressing is the fruitcake of Thanksgiving.
Dressing is kind of the fruitcake of Thanksgiving,
It's
though.
gross, but people love it. People love it, right?
I love dressing.
I'm just not those people. Like, and it's okay. I don't have to be those people.
Right.
But if you end up there, I think sometimes that's when you want to do cognitive rehearsing, or sometimes it's called pre-coping, where am I going to say something? Am I going to ignore it? Like you kind of have a game plan to like how to deal with it when the inevitable comes up, and hopefully you're wrong, but at least now you know what you're going to do, right?
Right.
But
Yeah. Yeah. And I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, you might have to say it out loud to yourself. I normalize talking to yourself.
absolutely. There's
Definitely normalize it.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, like, and that is definitely the conversation I had with most of my clients last week, and I'm sure I'll have throughout this month of, we don't want it to go terrible with your family. We just want you to have the tools that if it does go south, you feel that you're doing the right thing, right? Like maybe that is, being confrontational and being educational, but maybe that's giving yourself permission to be like, not today. We're not having those conversations today. And
Mhm.
just so that you know how you're going to handle it so that when it comes up, you can set that boundary. Because I think sometimes, I don't know if you feel this way, Dominique, but I think sometimes we think boundaries are negative. Like, ooh, that's my boundary. Boundaries are not negative. Boundaries are loving. Like sometimes you set a boundary, it's preventing a road that you know is not going to be good for you.
Mhm. Well, and I think a lot of that is societally, and I know especially like in the Black community, like that. No, you don't get to have a boundary.
I know.
You gotta go
Respect.
respect. You better go to your grandmama house and don't hurt her feelings. Because if
You
you
go
hurt
eat his dressing.
her feelings, the whole family gonna know and talk about you and all that craziness.
But like for real, they're probably going to talk about you regardless.
They are, and they are, because
They're
that's what kind of people they are. They're going to talk about you anyway about something. So if they're going to talk about you, the least you could be for yourself is comfortable.
Mhm. Absolutely. Like if you know that you're going to go and it don't matter what you say or how you act, or if you are the best kid, if they've got in their mind that you're the black sheep and you're the problem, then
Mm-hmm.
you just need to act in a way that makes you feel good and makes you feel as best as possible in that situation.
Yep. Yep. And then sometimes, it could be a deeper issue a lot of times, especially with the guilt. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it could be a core belief of I'm not good enough. Like I literally had a session with a client and they were didn't want to go to the stuff, but the underlying thing is they were being preemptive because people had in the past people had excluded them from gatherings. So
Mm-hmm.
now they just sabotage the opportunity to go to gatherings because to prevent their potential of being rejected or feeling excluded. So that even too, like make sure you know why you are doing something, because it could be the holidays could just be the trigger, but it could definitely be something deeper that you might want to explore with your therapist to help you get through the holidays, because they could simply just be a trigger. And so be sure you know why you're saying yes, why you're saying no, and that the reasons that you're saying yes and no are for the benefit of your mental and emotional well-being.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think that it's, if you know that you are self sabotaging, if you know that you're hiding or you're avoiding, then definitely don't go, right? You don't have to go. But if you know that ultimately it's not going to be healthy for you, and you know that this is probably going to be more negative than positive, then it's okay to say no, right?
Mhm.
Like, there are times when if you feel uncomfortable, you can push yourself, and that can be very, very healthy for you. And there
Mhm.
can be times where it can feel uncomfortable and you need to pull back and say, this isn't going to be good for me. And that's why therapy is so individualized, right?
Yep.
Like, to help you figure out what's going to serve you best, what is your decision, and how can we get you there so that you're feeling the best that you did either way. Because we may have one session where the conversation is, I'm not going to go because it's not going to be good for me. And then the very next session will be like, okay, I'm going to go. And I know it's going to be hard, but it's an important value of mine. So,
Mhm. Mhm. Yep. And that's why it's important if you're having um any type of feeling around the holidays, because it can be very complicated for many reasons. Either the people that are having gatherings, again, are the people that you want or need to be around. There could be grief associated with it. um maybe either you lost somebody um on the holiday or around the holiday, or maybe not. Maybe you just lost someone and the holiday was a time that that person was highlighted in your life for whatever reason. Maybe they were always at the gatherings or whatever. And so, just like we were talking about last week, it's okay to set the boundary of that you don't want to go just because you don't want to go, just because you don't, like Bridget said, just you don't feel like going. That's okay.
mm-hmm.
Or another helpful tool, just to put in your schedule, whether that's on your phone or your paper schedule, put everything in there for yourself that you have to do first, and then see what time is left over, and that includes putting your self-care time. I always make my clients put their self-care time in their schedule as well, and treat it like they would any other place they got to be, whether that be school or work or a doctor's appointment or therapy or whatever. What's your me time? So put that in there. And if you have extra space after your things you have to do, like work, your me time, school, stuff for your kids, stuff for your partner, whatever, then you can have that. And that may cut some things out right there that you're able to do. It may really shorten the list for you just because stuff doesn't fall on a time that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And if it's important to you, you'll go, okay, I'm going to rearrange and make it happen. But if you're like, oh, this isn't healthy for me, or this isn't important for me, it's okay to be like, I just can't make it happen. Absolutely. I like that self-care time in the schedule. I don't think I do that. That's really good. Like, I have clients about that.
It works wonders, because we tend to like stuff that is not solid. We tend to
Uh-huh.
want to move that around and like neglect it or say we don't have time for it. But the stuff that's in our schedule, it's like more of an urgency for it, because it's like it's an expectation. Our mind expects to be there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that idea of reminding yourself that you are actually worth being put in your schedule, even if you may not be in somebody else's schedule, right? Like, you are worth the time to make yourself that priority.
Right.
So,
Right.
yes, absolutely.
So, what might be some boundaries that you might set around giving and receiving? And it doesn't necessarily have to be gifts, just time, whatever, giving, or since this, time is usually the dynamic is a giving and receiving dynamic around this time of the year. What boundaries might you set up for that?
So I think probably the biggest thing you need to kind of reflect on is when you are giving and receiving, one, it needs to go back to your childhood. What was the expectation that either was met or wasn't met when you were a kid? How did your family do the holiday, giving and receiving? And is that the way you want to continue doing it? Wonderful. Or is there something differently that you want to do? And that is okay too. Because I think sometimes people get like, you just do the tradition over and over again. And sometimes traditions are amazing, but sometimes I think they really can drag you down if you're not like reflecting on it and going, okay, I still really like this, or this needs to go. This isn't serving me anymore. That is the thing. And then kind of realizing, like, was that realistic? Giving and receiving. Is this important to me? Because some people, I don't know, Dominique, if I've ever said this story. I love my husband. He's an amazing husband, blah, 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 blah. He is terrible about giving gifts. I mean, he is an amazing husband. He does lots of wonderful husband things. He's putting our 6-year-old to bed right now. He is terrible, terrible, terrible about giving gifts.
Me too. I'm terrible about it too, Bridget.
Are you? I am such a, like, my love language is gift giving. I do get like legit excitement out of like finding the gift and being like, oh, this person's going to like this. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but like, trying to put the thought in.
In fact, I'm so bad at giving gifts that it makes me anxious.
Really?
To go somewhere where I have to, like, if you don't tell me exactly, like, I don't have a problem if you tell me exactly what you want, or even if you're like, this is how much it costs, I'll give you the money. I don't mind that. But if I have to be responsible for finding the gift,
really,
no, I cannot. Like,
how your brain is working for
my
you.
brain doesn't think like that.
So,
I'm more of a quality time person.
So what we do in my house now is I've told clients this, I've told friends this. I'm not changing it. It is my hot take. I just buy my own stuff. Like, my family calls it from mom to mom. And they make fun of me for it. But honestly, like, because we're like 14 years into this marriage, I didn't do this until many later years. And there were a lot of tears because there were unmet expectations or needs and priorities. And like realizing, because I am a gift giver and he's not, that doesn't mean he doesn't love me. It just means he doesn't know what to buy me. This man one year gave me sponges.
He tried. Oh my gosh, he tried.
Problem, Dominic, he has tried and he is not good at it. Like, and so like I have now decided that I will be buying my own presents and then I get what I want. Like, so it's wonderful. It's wonderful. So, but I think like giving and receiving it, like whoever you may be with, have that conversation with them so that there's not unmet expectations or hurt feelings. Because I even think like, it's funny, my birthday was last month. I know your birthday was last month too. And I bought all my birthday presents. And my daughter, who's 11, who's Gwen, she's my favorite person. But Mama, it's so sad, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you know what? It's not sad. I get exactly what I want. I know not to expect anything from this person. And we are able to bypass some of the hurt feelings that took us way too long to figure out. So I think sometimes that boundary of giving and receiving is like, hey, let's have this conversation about it, because I can give people gifts because I love to give people gifts and I don't expect gifts in return. But I know not everybody does that, right?
Right.
So
yeah. To the point where, like, when people give me gifts, I'm like, not that I don't like what they give me. It's not that. It's like
anxiety.
Now I'm going to have to give you a gift, because that's the kind of person I am. It's just like, if you give me something, I, feel inclined to give you something back. And like, I tell my girlfriend, I told her today, do not get me no more gifts, man. She's constantly buying gifts. She's a gift person. And I'm like, stop buying me gifts. I love the gifts, but please stop buying them for me, because I don't know what to do with that. I'm thinking, I can't I can't think it up in my mind what to get, you know?
Yeah, I get that. And that's legit my husband, and like I know that he loves me and he really, really tries. Like he legit tries. He's just not good at it. Like
I went to a Secret Santa one time and I was like, I don't know what to bring. I bought freaking, when the iPhone used to have the home button, it was like iPhone home button covers.
oh, well, there you go.
But you just stick it on, like little stickers you can stick. That I didn't know what else to get.
Did people like the iPhone button covers?
I don't remember. It wasn't anything noteworthy.
I will say it's funny because this is actually a conversation that my husband and I had for the first time this year. Like I said, we're like 14 years into this. And he was like, well, you know, my family gives really practical gifts. And I was like, yeah, like sponges or a vacuum. And he's like, but you don't like practical gifts. And at first I was like, no, I love practical gifts. I'm a practical person. And then he was like, no, you don't like practical gifts. You want like little exciting things that you don't buy for yourself. And so the idea of like, we even understand we have to give each other gifts. What do we expect out of that gift? And I was like, yeah, you're right. I definitely want like random nerdy t-shirts that I would never buy for myself, but I don't need because I have 17,000 other t-shirts, right?
T-shirts are great. I had to downsize my t-shirt collection to add new t-shirts to it. So
yes, absolutely.
Candace said, I'm my own Santa. I even wrap my gifts and unwrap my unwrap on Christmas Day.
See, Candace, are you happier than that when you get exactly what you want versus if you had to leave it up to someone else? I don't know. It might be me controlling, but maybe not.
No, I mean, because there are people like me and your husband who like really care about the people we care about, but like for whatever reason,
their way of like expressing that. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I don't wrap them. He does wrap them, but I really think my daughter wraps them. I'm pretty sure Gwen wraps them, but he wraps them. That's all right.
See, so and then you know too that the expectation part is really important because then you'll find yourself feeling bitter and resentful if you just kind of bypass the conversation that Bridget's saying have with your loved ones. And if you don't feel you can be open and honest with them, there may be something else that needs to be addressed on, you know, one or both parts. But if you do, let's just say you have a healthy, accepting relationship with this loved one, saying, hey, you know, X, Y, and Z, letting them know the parameters of what you're able to do so they can expect it.
Yeah.
And you can too.
Right. Absolutely. And like, so like, even with my husband's stuff, I think at one time we were like, oh, let's put this like limit the dollar. We're going to try the dollar limit thing. And so we were going to do that. But like, he's buying the dollar limit of practical things. And I'm buying the dollar limit of like random things, like fun things. Like I know he'll, and that's like kind of the thing you get stuck on. Or, you know, like you're like, well, I'm just not going to follow the limit. But then he follows the limit. And then I was upset. I mean, this literally happened. I'm upset because he's followed the limit, but I didn't follow the limit, right? Like,
right.
Yeah. I think that. And then the other thing is, I think sometimes I actually had this conversation already today with one of my clients about how she was like, well, my mama always really put herself into debt and worked herself to death because of Christmas, because she wanted to give to us and it was great, but I didn't need that. And I don't want to do that anymore. And it's like, well, that's completely understandable as well. So like that boundary of like, do I need to do this? Do I want to do this? You know?
And if a person isn't accepting of what you can and can't do for whatever reason that you can and can't do them, then that is definitely a time to reevaluate your boundaries in general with that person.
And it's a red flag. I mean, it just is. If you have an honest conversation with a person about like, hey, I don't think I can financially do this, or like I don't think this is, this isn't healthy for me, or I can't make it happen, especially because we're in a recession, like, and they are not accepting of that, then that's just a red flag. It's probably not your only problem in the relationship, but it's probably one of them. So
Yeah, as it relates to this, definitely. And then if you have to deal with those people that give simply to expect something in return, that, and those people uh can make things hard or make you, gaslight you and make you feel like something's wrong with you. But no, it's not, because your resources are your resources. And that's time, that's energy, that's money, that's space. Your resources are your resources, and you are not obligated to give to anyone your resources, even if they feel like they have earned the right or the entitlement to your resources. No, you still decide who can and can't have, and for what reasons they can and can't have it is really up to you.
Yeah, and giving, like you said, doesn't even have to be like money. I mean, we normally think of it like that, super commercialized, but it can be like acts of service, or it can be like time spent, like, and if that is what you can do and that's what you want to do for a person, like, they might love that. Because if my children decided to like actually fold the laundry on the couch instead of buy me a present, that would be great. Like,
They're not going to do that, Bridget. That's not what they're going to do.
they're not gonna do that. But if they wanted to, actually, for my birthday this year, that's what I said. I was like, what if you just help clean the living room? And they're like, but what do you want us to buy you? Like,
Right. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do an act of service. We want to do a gift.
I was like,
And for me, I'd be like, okay, great. You know what? In fact, well, if I could, we have a housekeeper, but if I could, I would just I'll clean the house for a week, for the whole week.
that could be something super impactful. And if you can't financially do something, you could definitely do some type of act of service, and that can be just as appreciated, right?
Yep. So, and for those of you that are like maybe in some type of ship, like a relationship of some kind,
A ship.
and yeah, and it's like a two-person maybe, and I say two-person because it may be where you can do the love language quiz and find out that way what might be a good gift to give. Whatever.
Like that love language, I do like the love languages. I think they're helpful, but they are Christian. So if you're not Christian, be prepared. There's going to be that piece of it, so that you're not feeling like, whatever. But yes, they're very helpful, because you can figure out like maybe they just need a good snuggle versus like a present.
Yeah, definitely. If I could get like some sort of physical touch as opposed to a gift, I would prefer the physical touch, or like a party, or like a gathering with people, because I like quality time too. I would prefer gathering over gift. If I had to choose, that's just what I would choose.
But I'm just saying, like, I love my husband, but if he gave me a snuggle, like, because it's not high on my list. I'm not a physical touch human. I'm not a hugger. That's not who I am. So being, like you said, I think I love that idea of figuring out what is going to be the most impactful, and what is it, not what you want, but what does the other person want? Like, how are you going to do it? So.
And then based on what their thing is and what you have in your resources, pairing that and saying, okay, well, this is what you want. Well, this is what I have.
You don't have to give them exactly what they want. Yeah.
Right. Like, this is what I'm willing and or able to give, as it relates to what you like. And then if they are happy with it, then they probably genuinely love you. If they're not happy with it, then they're probably selfish and you better run.
you all didn't the assignment. Like,
but no, seriously, reevaluate that. If you want to do your best for a person and your best isn't good enough for them, the whole relationship just should really be evaluated. Not saying you got to end it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying find you a therapist to evaluate it with. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and have some honest conversations about like, hey, this is what I'm really feeling, or this is what's really important to me. And, just kind of get on the same page for sure. And definitely, if you can't do that on your own, like, you can see a therapist. You don't have to see a therapist forever, but like if you're like, hey, we're not talking on the same page about these things and there's hurt feelings here, see a therapist for 3 sessions to discuss that, or a session. It'll be therapy for the rest of your life.
No, it has to be for the rest of your life, unless you're like me and you probably just need it for the rest of your life.
No, absolutely. I mean, like couples therapy. Like if there's like it would be great to sit down and both be self-actualized and have that conversation. But if you all can't have that conversation, see a therapist and get some tools to have that conversation, so that somebody is there to help you all navigate it. You can work together towards a healthier relationship, and maybe you continue that, but maybe you don't, So.
Yeah. And hey, Hazel said that they did the love language thing. They did the love language test for both kids and adults. And the religious, it's been a minute, like some years since I took it, but she said the religious piece isn't that huge of a deal.
I don't think it's big, but I do want just people to know, right?
Yeah. And I do when I
that comment.
The boundaries books by Dr. Henry Cloud are also very reference a lot of Bible stuff. And so I do tell, if you don't believe in the Bible, that's cool. Just extract that. The rest of it's still good, you can still benefit from the rest of the book. But if you don't agree with the Bible portion, no problem. Just throw that part out.
Well, that's like a couples book I use a lot is called Love and Respect, and it's also a very Christian book. And some people love it, but also like even if you're not, a deeply religious person, like there is some good stuff about how to treat your partner. And so I like to tell people, because religious trauma is real.
Right. Yeah.
Well said that.
Seriously, even for people that, may have originally started in most people that, started off in a religious setting end up going a different route just because of the trauma. Absolutely. So yeah, just I always give them that, and they, and I'll tell them exactly which parts based on the client. I'll say, okay, now this part could, based on what's going on, could, you might just really want to gloss over that, because there's one in, there's a book called Safe People, by Dr. Henry Cloud as well. He also does the Boundary series, but it's a part about something about homosexuality or something. And so I'm like, that part's in there, and I tell my straight.
I read that one.
Huh?
I haven't read that one.
It's good. But I tell my straight and gay clients to watch out for that part, because it could be triggering.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't remember what page it's on, but if you get to that, just kind of skip over it, because it could be triggering. But other than that, the content of the book is really good, and there's like vignettes in there that help like give examples of how a person had to evaluate if someone was safe for them or not. So yeah.
I'm gonna look it up. Actually, I'm legit gonna read that.
It's good. Like, and
I like the boundaries. I like they have a whole bunch of different ones. I like the ones. I like the adult ones. There's a lot of good ones, and I think love language is like, I think it's if you read the book. If you read the book, I think it gets a lot more
Yeah, it's a lot more biblical once you read, like
But if
read.
you want to do the quiz, like the love languages quiz, you're not going to get a whole bunch of that.
Yeah, the quiz isn't gonna have a whole lot of Bible reference, just the book, like Bridget said. So definitely take that quiz. You can look it up online, 5 love languages, and maybe share that with your loved ones, and then you can say, okay, based on I love you, based on what you receive as love, if it's gifts, okay, well, this is my budget, or these are the things I'll be able to do of that. And if they're like, well, no, yeah, I just appreciate you trying, okay, great. But if they're like, that ain't good enough, go ahead and make your therapy appointment to figure out what to do with that person.
Well, the other thing is, I think sometimes we think that somebody else is a gifts person, and then they're not even that, right? Like,
oh no, a gifts person will tell you. They're gonna
no,
say
I
that.
know it. I know it. But I mean, like, like sometimes we're like, oh, this blah 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 is a priority to them, and that was never their priority. We just like think that's going to be their priority. I mean, sometimes you can read a person like a book, but sometimes you may not even realize that you're running yourself ragged for what? Just communication.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So the conversation, have it to prepare yourself for the holiday season. And like Bridget said, maybe you'll relieve yourself of some undue stress and anxiety, because that might not even be that person's expectation. And then if it is, and you're unable to meet their expectation, then definitely we want to be sure that you have somebody to process that with, because that can be difficult. So, there could be just guilt associated with that. When, yes, we're saying it's okay to do as you please as far as giving things, and you're not obligated to anyone, but we do realize that there also that could be hard, and that even though you're not obligated, it could be hard to work through that emotion, and then because of that, give in to the fact that and maybe give beyond your means.
Yeah. And then feel terrible about it. I think that's where a lot of the negative emotions come from. And that's where even those boundaries within yourself, you can, work through it, kind of do that own self work. So you're not walking away feeling burnt from something that's supposed to be like this wonderful time,
Right.
You're on the page. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about boundaries with time during the holidays and finances, and how to figure out, how and what to give, and how and what to receive in general terms. Of course, to get more specific, you would definitely want to talk to your therapist for your individual situation. But yeah. Yeah, that's a good start. Bridget, you got anything else for us?
The only other thing is like, I do think that it's both societal but also internal, that we have a lot of expectations during the holidays to like make it magical or wonderful. And sure, great if that is your jam, but if that is not your jam and it is not serving you, you don't have to do that.
Exactly. You do not have to. You don't have to, because think about it this way. There's some countries across the globe that they don't even recognize, Christmas. And so it's just another day to them. Or they didn't recognize Thanksgiving. That's just another day to them, because, it's some sort of societal tradition that, we picked up in this country. But it's just another day to a bunch of other people. So it could be just another day to you too.
Right. So stay true to what is serving you, and don't feel pressured to give in to somebody else's expectations just because that's not yours. Because I mean, we're not going to put up a tree. I love Christmas. I'm wearing a Christmas shirt today. We're not going to put up a tree. It's not what I want to do. I give myself permission not to do that.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Look at you, Bridget, not putting up a tree.
I never do. And my sister I love her, but I'm going to throw her under the bus. she was like, "You're not even going to put up a tree, are you?" Because she's put up 3 trees. And I was like, I don't know, probably not. I was like, and you know what? I'm just not gonna do it, and it's gonna be okay.
Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
Do what you like, but don't feel pressure to do what you don't like.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, do y'all got any questions? We got any questions down here? What are you talking about? Best way to be never disappointed. I don't know what Star's talking about.
But like, as far as if you have expectations of others and then you get disappointed.
I don't know what she's talking about. I don't know.
I can't see those, but my guess is that if you are constantly disappointed because the other people are disappointing you, I don't know you, but are you telling other people your expectations? Like, it's okay to be like, hey, like, this is what I want. And maybe they can't do it, or maybe they can do it, but like, it's okay to be that way,
Coach, she said she was responding to a comment.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. But yeah, she probably needed to hear that too. So
like,
cool. Awesome. Well, any more questions? If y'all have any more questions, y'all better ask us now. Otherwise, we're going to peace out and see y'all next week. Bridget, do you have any last comments for us?
No. What? Well, I just said a lot. No.
Oh yeah, she was talking about you saying that you're well, Candace, after you said it, said that she's her own Santa and wraps and her own gifts. She was saying it's the best way to be. You won't be disappointed. And yeah, that's what Bridget was saying. Like, she gets her own self gift because her husband's not great at getting gifts, as I'm not great at getting gifts. So she gets her gifts and she's happy with what she gets, and she gets what she wants to have. So
perfect. Well, I think for it, I will tell you that has taken me. I mean, that was like years upon, because I am a gift person. It is important to me. It's a value of mine. It took me too long, really, to realize he doesn't love me less just because it's not a value of his.
Right.
Then not only to like give him permission and let go of that expectation of presents, but then to like, because sometimes the other thing about it is when we let go of those things, we actually open ourselves up for even better. Because like, I literally now, no, there's not a lot of surprise in my presents, but I get exactly what I want. So I'm able to, yes, I bypassed this one thing to get this other thing that's actually really, really healthy. So sometimes, like, if you let go of the, you let go of the stuff that, like, you thought, the fear, there's something better coming down the road.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bridget, again for joining us. Thank you so much. Star said, I'm very good at verbalizing what I want because I too have been disappointed needlessly before. Are you though?
Did you say are you? I said good for you, and you said are you?
Star is literally sitting in the other room. So that's my girlfriend. She's just stirring the pot and being a troll. That's it.
Tell Star to go buy herself really nice and pretty. You go buy yourself something nice and pretty and make both Dominique happy.
I do. But I'm very good at verbalizing what I want.
Are you?
I'm specific. Even down to the website. I send websites. I send
links. There's nothing wrong with sending some links, right?
She doesn't check text because y'all be texting her too much, as you should. Text her new to the number below.
She is a boss, and she's got her.
Right, because y'all all should be texting the word new or intern to 205-964-5201. so you can keep her busy and her not responding to my text messages.
See, Bridget, it ain't just your husband.
No, it's not. Let's make sure. I know that's the way relationships go, right? That's relationships.
You have to. I mean, I'm a person that I don't believe in telling people you like things you don't.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna gaslight you and tell you that I like this gift that you got me and I don't. Because if you do that, I feel like you encourage people to continue that pattern of behavior, and then that's not good because now we all say it. Because you keep wasting your money on something that I don't like, and then I keep being disappointed.
Pineapple.
You did not find nothing. I just run up your house, woman.
Does she even like pineapple?
Yeah. Here you go. Got this pineapple.
You see what I have to deal with, Bridget?
If my husband gave me a pineapple, I would be texting the word new too.
Yeah.
I'd be like, that is not a gift, that is a grocery store purchase.
Exactly. Like, what in the world?
Put a bow on it and make it a gift, Bridget.
For somebody else, that might be wonderful, but if I got a pineapple, what?
And then you didn't even spring to go to Publix and get the already cut one. Now I got to do the labor to cut it.
No, you do.
No,
the
I have to
thing where you
exactly. I have to do the labor
and then you
to open it. You wouldn't even go to Publix. Come on now. You could at least go to Publix and get the cut fruit. You want me to do labor for my gift? I don't think so.
You gotta unwrap
Publix, or did it come from Walmart?
And that's a whole nother. Like if you don't love me if you get me fruit from Walmart. Yeah, that's just bottom line. I'm just not gonna believe it. I'm not gonna be able to believe it.
But if you have to unwrap a gift, that is also labor.
It's the fun labor.
No,
I don't want to.
I do not like opening gifts.
You don't?
No, my sister gave me a gift last Christmas. I still have not opened. Not because of anything towards her. I just am not great at opening gifts.
Star, can you open that gift for her? She needs help.
I gave her 30 days worth of gifts leading up to her birthday, and she opened every one of them.
Oh, she sat there.
No, I did not. You were asleep most of the time when I put them beside you.
Well, I knew she was gonna say something, so there was pressure to open it.
I've experienced her not opening stuff. I bought her something today, and she opened it.
I was actually going through. I have a gift closet where I buy cheap junk throughout the year, and I found stuff I bought my husband last year. He has not touched.
That's my favorite thing to do, Bridget. And she thinks I'm crazy because I stay in Walgreens clearance shopping for like 3 hours.
Girl, you can get some good stuff at the Walgreens clearance.
I shop at Walgreens like 4 times a week.
I know.
Always at Walgreens.
I love Walgreens.
I leave at the house. She's like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "Walgreens." She's like, "Oh, you'll be there a while." I'm like, "No, I'm not." "Yes, you will."
Yeah. Just buying stuff, looking at the sale tags.
I go down every aisle and look at every orange tag.
You just never know. You could literally get a toothbrush for 47 cents.
I was so excited. I came in the house. I was like, "Oh, I got these hauls for 35 cents." I heard my son both just roll their eyes. And I'm like, "Y'all are going to need these hauls." And guess what? They both got sick.
Mm-hmm.
I just had a cough.
And because Star took the time to get the hauls, you didn't have to use Equate brand like I did.
And not only that, at the time in which she was coughing, nothing was open.
Oh, there you go.
But we already had it at the house. Why? Because I got it for 35 cents.
Yeah, because you were a smart shopper.
See there?
Best way to be. What best way? See, this is what you should do, y'all. Take your strengths. It's not her strength. It's mine. Clearance shopping is my specialty.
Shopping in general is your
But I like getting deals. That's fun. Yeah. I really like to tell people how cheap I get stuff.
Absolutely. Who doesn't?
I like to rub it in people's face like, "Oh, you had to pay full price." I got it for $1.
Exactly.
Like I saved 90% at Walgreens today.
Bridget gave a good thing. We need to have a dollar amount on gifts.
No,
because what's going to happen is Dominique
work in my house.
97 gifts, and she's going to get one.
And she just got 2 pair of shoes today. It's my birthday month. My birthday is next Friday.
You didn't have
She
to-
just had 30 days of Dom, but that's just me. Because
Didn't I tell you I told her to quit that?
I saw them and I was like, she would love these.
But they're
and
so cute.
her eyes just.
I think y'all need to text the word new to
Yes.
do
Dude, we need to text the word new.
Bridget, ask her
It's
how
okay.
big she
Everybody-
smiled when she saw them.
Yeah, they were cute shoes. I did smile big. I did. They were real cute. I was like, ah! And they were yellow rain boots. Oh my gosh.
And yellow is your
Yellow
color. I
Rain,
know.
hunter rain boots.
Oh, that's the good stuff.
Well, thank you so much, Bridget. Thank you for your time. Thank y'all so much for joining us. And we will definitely be back next week for another hot topic.
Bye.
Bye, Bridget. I'm going to see y'all next week. Y'all take care.